Hello race fans and welcome to round 4 of the Porsche Tag Heuer eSports Supercup and the behind the scenes live stream of the Rahal Lenneman Lanigan eSport and Apex Racing team here at Silverstone. We are in for an absolute thriller. My name is Peter Mackay. Joining me in the commentary box this evening is Jack Canan and bringing you these beautiful images and graphics from the home of British motorsport, Alex Simpson and Lee Thompson. Jack, it was a much greater return to form for both the RLL and the Apex Racing team guys after a bit of a disaster at Catalonia, but right back on course at Imola 1 week ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was a brilliant return to form. Every single car getting inside that top 10 in the feature, which is wonderful to see. And it is a perfect track to come to now, which is Silverstone. I mean, it's the home of British motorsport. We've got some fantastic cars to bring around here. Of course, the Porsche GT3s, and the guys are going to be saying today is going to be a draft fest today. So expect plenty of those long trains that we're so used to.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we can expect today here at Silverstone. It's a track where these cars can really get wound up to their absolute maximum. Of course, in the real life motor racing, the Porsche Mobile 1 Super Cup, the real life equivalent of the Porsche Tag Heuer eSports Super Cup, follows around with the Formula 1 calendar. So, of course, these cars are raced in the real world on this particular circuit here at Silverstone. So, a real full commitment circuit. And you need, the thing about this one is, Jack, I'd imagine our Fast Five here with Apex Racing Team and Rahal Lenneman Lanigan, I would think they would have had a tricky job this week with setup, because there's parts of, like we say, there's big long drag strips at Silverstone, and then there's areas where you need really, really high downforce, and trying to get that compromise is bound to have been a bit of a challenge for the guys through the week.
Yeah, it really is. Silverstone is just one of those circuits where you've got to find the right balance between having a car that's fast in a straight line and a car that's really good in the slow speed section. Because, of course, sector number 1, you've got the tight and twisty section in turns 2, 3, and 4 before we head on to sector 2, which is the most fun one. Of course, heading through Copse up through Maggots and Beckett and Chapel. That's where the car's at high speed, but it's also on load, so you need plenty of grip in that car as well. So you've got to find the balance. I'm sure they're going to be airing towards a car that's a little bit faster in a straight line in this one, because there's kind of less low speed corners. There tends to be a little bit more medium speed and high speed in this one, but I think pushing these cars to the limit in qualifying is going to be fantastic to watch, because these cars are very slippery, and trying to keep the power on through Copse and Stowe and even in through turn 1, it's going to take some bravery in these cars.
It certainly will. Yeah, bravery is certainly the word here. You really want to sling it out to the edge, and you might be saying, "Oh, bravery? Well, this is virtual motorsport. It can't be." Well, the reason is that you've really got to go to the absolute millimetre of what is allowable on track, because here at Silverstone, it seems to me, Jack, that the track limits are so strictly enforced, and if you just step over so slightly, your entire lap is invalidated. And with just 12 minutes for qualifying, only 3 flying laps, you don't really want to have that pressure ratcheting against you and having laps deleted, because it's just so close in this championship.
Yeah, absolutely is, especially where we're watching of Kevin Ellis Jr. at the moment. He's heading up towards Copse Corner. It's so notorious, so you really want to push it all the way out to the curb, but those off tracks are ready to pick you up as well, so you've got to run it as close as you can, but not too much. And of course, Maggots and Beckett and Chapel, if you take too much of the curb on the exit of Beckett, it'll give you a massive slowdown. As we just ride on board now with Kevin Ellis Jr. as he comes through that very section into Beckett and into Chapel. Right here on the inside curve, if you take too much of that, that is a massive slowdown in the region of 3.5 seconds. It can lose you when you're heading down the hangar straight, of course. This is where we're going to see plenty of slipstream, possibly the best overtaking opportunity in towards Stowe Corner. We'll have the first few laps coming into now, as we see Kevin Ellis Jr., of course, winner in Interlagos, and got himself a very nice P2 at Imola, of course, and was so close to getting that win, but just that slipstream train, it's so hard to overtake at Imola, but he did well to keep himself in there for that whole year.
Absolutely. Well, here comes Zach Campbell then in the 15 car for Rahal Lenneman Lanigan. Over the line he goes. He pulls out of it, So he sets a lap time, but isn't going for another at this point. So we'll see if he can get time to get another lap in before the end of the qualifying session. At the moment, the times are coming in thick and fast. Johan Hart, fastest of our boys so far, in 9th position in the 90 car. Brilliant effort from Johan. Really, really good stuff. We're looking now at Jeff Chiazzi, the number 7 car. You can identify Jeff's car with the Valentino Rossi-esque yellow stripes on it as well, which as we found out last week, Jack, matches racing boots.
Yeah, they certainly do. We're going to find out whether he's wearing those lucky shorts and those yellow boots once again. Because again, Jeff Chiazzi had a great result with the top 10 last time. Here comes Jeff now through the last corner. Very quick chasing him. See if he can get himself a little bit further up that field, crosses the line. And he goes into 20th for now. He will have another chance to go for another run in a moment's time. Jamie Fluke is currently 18th, but highest placed car at the moment is Johan Hart, only 0.3 of a second off of the fastest man at the moment, which is Dane Warren in the 57 car, and Sebastian Job, the last winner at Imola. Of course, he is in P2 in the sprint race, that is, before he had that spin earlier on. But we have one car in the top 10. I'm sure there's more pace in the cars right there, so I expect them to get a little bit further up the order, because the guys are feeling quite confident heading into this race today.
Indeed, of course, Jamie Fluke and Kevin Ellis Jr. have actually been competing in the Porsche UK Carrera Cup eSports competition, which one of the rounds was here at Silverstone. So that top level experience will be really, really handy. Just a little bit of an edge on the rest of the field who weren't eligible for that. Of course, a UK only competition. So a little bit of race experience at this level is really hard to get, of course, out with of competition. So we'll wait for our drivers to go for their flying lap. I think Kevin Ellis Jr. is just about to go and try and set his last flying lap right now in the 30 car. He's coming. Oh, very fantastic timing, going underneath the Johnny Walker Scotch Whisky Bridge. Of course, Kevin, a man from Glasgow, although instead of Scotch whisky, he does prefer making cocktails, as we discovered last week. Venom is his cocktail of choice when not racing, of course. So at the top of the field, we've got quite a lot of the big names: Sebastian Job, Mitchell de Jong, Josh Rogers, Charlie Collins, all there. But Johan Hart, a brilliant qualifying from him so far, just 0.3 of a second off the ultimate pace. Now, Porsche do have a fantastic history here at Silverstone, and in fact, we won't be seeing any of this action today, but back in 1978, Porsche built a car which was called the 93578, or that was its code name, but it's much better known as Moby Dick because it looked like a whale. But it didn't drive like a whale, because it won by 7 laps here in the 1,000 kilometres of Silverstone. So we're riding on board right now with Kevin Ellis Jr. coming out towards Aintree. A lovely corner here, absolutely flat out in these cars, minimising the steering input as best as possible, using all the room on the way out, and then down towards Brooklands. And you'll see on the right hand side here, you'll see the British Racing Drivers Club with plenty of tweed jackets and champagne flutes. A good place to go for hospitality for the racing, Jack.
Yeah, absolutely is, if you're able to get in. So hopefully they'll let us in next time. They shut me out last time, so hopefully they'll let me in next time. But yeah, it's a fantastic place to watch the racing from, on the entry to Brooklands and all the way up. The old pit straight, of course, is where the Grand Prix used to begin. Of course, Cops being the first corner, but of course it was changed later on towards the head into Maggots and Beckett's and Chapel. Now on board with Kevin Ellis Jr. See if he can negotiate this. Well, hops that curb on the left, using all of that road, taking so much speed, 5th gear as he enters into Beckett's, and then keeping it in 4th gear into Chapel, just fights in that car, trying to keep the car in a straight line with this rear engine machine, and down the long hanger straight. Now, of course, Silverstone used to be an airfield, so of course we used to have the hangers on the right hand side, where now, of course, spectators now stand down into Stowe. Now 4th gear, keeping it tight, using the curb and on the power as early as you can, and use all that runoff, but don't use too much, because those off tracks will pick you up. Now into the braking zone for Club. This is a very crucial part of the circuit. As you get on the power too early, the car will swap ends very easily. On the power up to 3rd gear. Now just He booed it to the line here with Kevin Ellis Jr. What can he do to bring that car a little bit further off the grid across the line? And he goes into 10th, so top 10, only a thousandth between himself and Max Benecke, but he's got that car into the top 10, and that is a really, really good effort. Just gets knocked out by Patrick Holtzman and a couple more. Jamie Fluke up to 14th as well, so slots in front of Johan Hart, and that is a good effort. But once again, this qualifying, the Porsche Supercup is just so competitive with qualifying because those gaps are so tight. We've got 0.6 of a second covering 30 cars, Peter.
Wow, yeah, absolutely exceptional. And that's on a 2-minute lap as well, as Mitchell de Jong puts in the fastest lap of qualifying so far, 202.234. We saw there on Kevin's in-sim cam a big punch of the air and a sigh of relief, it seemed, for Kevin. We normally don't see Kevin get too animated in the sim. He's just normally a model of concentration, but he was, you could tell that he'd taken a big deep breath for that qualifying lap, and to get onto the 6th row of the grid, that really puts him in the zone there, doesn't it, Jack? Because of course we have a partly reversed grid for race 2, the top 8 getting reversed. So if you can get in that top 8, he's right in the area that he needs to be to challenge for that good grid spot for race 2.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did last time in Imola, of course, getting that P7 in the sprint race to then get himself on the front row for the feature, and of course battling it out with Josh Rogers, and a great fight to the end between those guys. But all cars are now over the line as far as we can see. So Kevin Ellis Jr. P12, Zach Campbell is 18th. And then for Apex Racing Team, Jamie Fluke is the highest placed with 14th, just ahead, a couple of thousands actually, between himself and Johan Hart, and Jeff Ghiazzi in 19th, just behind Zach Campbell. So all in the top 20, which is a very decent effort from the guys. But pole goes to Mitchell de Jong by no less than 0.02 of a second around this one as we grid up for the sprint race here at Silverstone, which is always a fun one. Here's the grid then. Mitchell de Jong by 0.02 of a second over Dane Warren in second. Sebastian Job in third, with Tommy Oscar in fourth. Charlie Collins in P5, and championship leader Josh Rogers in P6. Then the other Red Bull Racing eSports car of Graham Carroll is 7th, and Salva Talens for MSI is in P8. Then it's Mac Backham, and top 10 for Patrick Holtzman for Team Redline. Then it's Max Benecke and Kevin Ellis Jr. for RLL Esports. Then followed by Jeremy Bootloop in 13th, and Jamie Fluke now in 14th, with Johan Hart on the row behind in 15th. Dave Williams, Alejandro Sanchez, who fought for that victory, of course, in MLS, in 17th for MSI, and Zach Campbell in 18th with Jeff Ghiazzi. Just behind him in 19th, and Alexander Thiva behind, with Thibaut Casabon, Sindre Setsas, Ayahankan Guven, and Mati Kaida Soya in 24th, with Thomas Tattala, Marino Saricha, Ricardo Castro, Alexander Walters, Christopher Dambietz, and Jack Sedgwick. Martin Kroenke, Daniel Lafuente, Josh Thompson, Diogo Pinto, Pekka Toivonen, and Mikael Gade in 36th position in this race. So few more down the order: Maxime Ramstein, Ricardo Rico, Brian Lockwood, and Carlos Fenalosa, who didn't set the time. But that is a field spread, 36 cars within 0.9 of a second. I think that pretty much describes the Super Cup.
And on a 2-minute lap as well. That's quite a long lap for these cars as well. I mean, absolutely mind-boggling. If you were to extrapolate that with on a kind of graphic, the cars wouldn't be very far spread apart in terms of distance. But you can see Kevin Ellis prepared for this 7-lap sprint race on the 6th row of the grid. Max Benecke along beside him there, just you can just see in the left of shot. The lights are prepared then. We are nearly ready to go here at Silverstone for round 4 of the Porsche Tag Heuer eSports Super Cup. Off they go then for 2 races here at Silverstone. Our boys right in the meat of the pack. They're just going to work on getting through clean in these early stages as they head through into the new village section. You can see Sebastian Job there in the Red Bull car having a big look up the inside. Kevin Ellis Jr. Needs to be careful not getting sandwiched in here. It's so busy. Left, right. It's very, very easy to get into contact. And spin for Johan Hart. Oh, dear. Spin for Johan Hart. Jamie Fluke's got through. Jeff Ghiazzi's got caught up in it. There's cars on the roof. Absolute mess here as they run up towards Aintree. But a bit of a lottery there, Jack.
Yeah, really important. I think Zach Campbell was caught up in it as well, but I think Jamie Fluke managing to just about get out of that was just a massive stack up. There's nothing God could do about that. Kevin Ellis is clear. He is in P10. Car behind him, of course, with damage, so he's made up now 2 spots into the top 10 right now. Zach Campbell actually did make it through. He's in 13th place now. Jamie Fluke's 18, so it looks like Johan got caught up in it as well with a spin. And Jeff was also in it as well, so that's unfortunate for those guys. Let's hope that they can recover. But so unlucky, just one spinning in front of the field, and that caused that big chain effect. There is Zach now, and he's on the back of Jerry and Max Benecke, who's carrying that front end damage from that contact earlier on. But for the rest of the field, it seems to be mostly through for the moment now. But there's definitely a gap between the guys up front, and right on board now with Zach Campbell chasing down Jeremy Bootloop in front of him. But at least we've got some of our boys that managed to survive that first lap. But really unfortunate for the guys that started further down, because there's nothing they could have done about that.
No, definitely not. You're absolutely right there, Jack. It's just a little bit of a lottery, a little bit up to chance and perception, but brilliant job so far from our young American star, who, do not forget, came through pre-qualifying. 20 grid spots came from the 20 top finishers from last season's championship, 20 grid spots from pre-qualifying, and I can assure you it is absolutely brutal. And Zach Campbell has really earned his place, and he is really impressed, been by far the standout performer of those pre-qualifiers. He qualified 18th for this race, already up into 13th, and a couple of the cars in front of him have got quite a bit of damage. He's got past, my apologies, I thought that was Zach there. He's just still holding 13th position there. Benecke moved forward a couple of positions, now onto the back of Kevin Ellis Jr., who's 10th after qualifying 12th. We're going to get a replay and try and dissect what happened in the opening corners. Alejandro Sanchez hit, oh goodness me, hits one of the Coanda cars like a golf ball off a tee. Goodness me, well that was a big Bertha crash. Oh my word. Poor old Jeff Diazzi. Well, those shorts, they'll bring him luck later in the race, I'm sure.
Yeah, seems like it, as Kevin Ellis Jr. now look at his Max Benecke absolutely on his bumper through Cops Corner. That is very, very close indeed. I swear they were touching through there. And Kevin Ellis hanging on right now. So now Kevin, of course, he's only 2 spots away from the first grid pole, so he's in a good spot right now. So if he can maybe gain 2 more spots, which is easier said than done, of course, but he's got to fend off Max Benecke, and just 2 cars back. You can kind of see a glimpse from there. That is Zach Campbell just behind that VRS car of Jeremy Bootloop, but Max Benecke is the man putting him under pressure at the moment. So let's see if he can keep him behind, which is also easier said than done, as he's also chasing after the car and on board with Zach Campbell now. You can just see just the cars in front of him. And Max Benecke and Kevin Ellis Jr. has got Patrick Holtzman in front of him, which they are fighting it out right now. Kevin's got a little bit wide into that corner, but Benecke's going to have a little look at him there, and he manages to hang on for now. Let's see if we can see what happened to Jamie. A little tag from behind there, and that was so unlucky. He had to take avoiding action and go out there, and Jeff actually managed to pull up alongside him there as they came through, and they all ended up back together almost. Just a little tap in the rear, sent him wide. He had to get on the brakes, and again, just really, really unlucky for the Apex guys today. But currently, we still have the RLL Esports guys fighting it out with the top boards at the moment.
Yeah, it's just been luck has not been with the Apex Racing Team boys so far in this opening race here at Silverstone. Of course, we have 2 races, 7-lap sprint race, which we're in the middle of now, and then a 14-lap feature. So it's still time to recover the meeting. Not been a good start for Jeff Diazzi, been very, very tough for our Brazilian star so far in this race, just been on the wrong side of others' incidents, but we'll see if he can recover throughout the rest of the meeting. But a good start indeed for the Rahal Lederman Lanigan eSports guys, Kevin Ellis Jr. and Zach Campbell, who have had a really good start to the season in general. Actually, of course, a win at Interlagos in the feature race, Kevin Ellis Jr. and a podium in the feature race last time out at Imola. And as we know, Bobby Rahal, the owner of Rahal, or one of the owners of Rahal, Letterman Lanigan, has a great history with lots of wins at the wheels of Porsches. And in fact, he actually raced in a Porsche 935 with Apple computer sponsorship, as we see Kevin Ellis going up the inside at Stowe. Oh, can he get the move sealed up as they head down towards the club chicane? Side by side they go, and it's going to be, he might just have to give best here, but might get it on the flip-flop. Does he get it, the Scotsman? Yes, he does, and Beneke spots a little bit of an opportunity there on his Team Redline teammate, and Kevin Ellis Jr. through to 9th. So, yes, Bobby Rahal in this Apple computer sponsor 935 was the same car that Paul Newman nearly won Le Mans in 1979, Jack. Same chassis.
He always comes out with stuff that nobody else knows. Great stuff.
Now you do.
Excellent. Our weekly trivia with Peter Mackay, as we see Zach Campbell on Jeremy Bootloop coming through. Patrick Holtman is coming back at Kevin Ellis at the same time. They're side by side. And as well, Kevin gets pushed out to the curb. Zach Campbell trying to get past Jeremy Bootloop, but can't quite do it. Now he's going to have a little look on the inside to head into Brooklyn's corner, but is not able to get on those brakes late enough. Kevin Ellis, by the way, they're still side by side between Patrick Holtzman as they head into. He's going to have the inside from Luffield now, and he should be able to nip in front here. Beneke is going to try and follow through as well, getting perfect grandstand shots from Zach Campbell's car. He's getting hit to the rear, I think. Off goes Zach Campbell in a big way as they head at the exit of Luffield corner. Now what happened there? Did he get attacked from behind? It looked to me because he was trying to steer left and the car was not going that direction. Oh god, everything's falling apart for the guys today, but Kevin Ellis is currently now the only car inside the top 10, fighting out hard with Patrick Holtzman, who's now a gap of a second Tommy Oscar, but he's one position away from having that reverse grid pole, so maybe hopefully he can rescue something there, but so unlucky for Zach Campbell. Didn't quite see what happened, but ended up on the wall somehow.
Yeah, there's. I wonder if he's maybe had. Yeah, it certainly looked from my angle there that there was some sort of contact that turned the car around. We will look into that, folks, and we will get a replay if we possibly can to see what happened to Zach Campbell. He had such a strong start to this race. Now we're going to get a look now. So there he is. He's side by side with another car. Can't quite tell who that is. I think it's a Team Red.
Oh dear.
Yeah, well, just an unlucky one there for Zach. Unfortunately, a bit of contact with the wall, which is never going to be good as the cars stream by. So, after such a promising start, it's not going to yield the result they might have wanted to.
Yeah, again, that was really unlucky. I think it just became, I think there was like the slightest bit of contact in the wrong place. For him there for Zach, and I think it was Ivan Guban, I think, was just tagging him around, and unfortunately that's ended up like that. As we see, there's Jeff Piazzi making his way back to the field, gets past with a lovely move on Ramstein around the outside of the exits of the village section, and does he get in front? Yes, he does. Lovely move from the Brazilian in front of the 729 car. As you can see, one of the Apex Racing team as well, just following through in the background with a big lunge up the inside on Pekka Toivonen. And does he get it in front? I think he should be able to. He's going to have to squeeze him out for Luffield, but Pekka Toivonen is not having any of that as they head into Luffield corner. He's going to have to give it up. No, he doesn't, and just plants it around the outside and gets it in front of Piazzi, makes up another position and gets past none other than Zach Campbell, who's limping around at the moment.
Yeah, Zach's carrying a lot of damage. It's going to be not a great deal of points, if anything at all, from this particular race for Zach Campbell. Really disappointing. Qualified 18th, got up to the fringes of the top 10. Just a very unfortunate end to this race. And mind you, the one slight crumb of comfort, I suppose. Oh, bit of digital aero wake there. It's been a really fractious race, hasn't it? Yes, digital aero wake, I like to call it.
Digital aero wake. Yeah, that's actually, I think I'm going to call it that from now on. It sounds a lot more, sounds a lot better than Netcon, I think. This is Kevin Ellis, 2 laps to go, Peter. Right in front of him is Tommy Oscar and reverse grid poles. Let's see if he can pull this off. Be a great way to to get himself onto the pole for the feature race, because it seems that once he gets on that front row, he tends to hang on to it. It's how he got it in Interlagos, of course, with that fantastic win, and then the podium in Imola. So it always tends to go well for him, and just to get himself into those consequence spots. We're going to have to fight off Max Benecke, who's not an easy man to keep behind at the same time. So let's see if we can secure a reverse grid pole. If not, it would be P9 at the worst for him, but it would be nice to get himself onto that front row. But there's only a lap and a half left, so if he needs to get it done, it needs to be done quickly.
Yep, you're absolutely spot on there. It needs to happen now, and yeah, this is absolutely critical here for Kevin Ellis Jr. because, as we've seen so many times, qualifying is vital. Of course, when the field is basically covered by a gap that over a race doesn't really seem to make much of a difference. They're all on such a similar pace because these are basically the 40 best sim races in the world, for lack of better expression. And you know, it's if you've got that front row start, it's all the hard work is kind of done. Whereas you very rarely see drivers carve through the field in this championship, guy.
No, you don't, and that's I think actually it's a perfect demonstration right now. If we look from Matt back to Max Benecke, that's what the entire field is covered by in qualifying, basically 7/10 to 8/10 seconds. So there's a visual demonstration of how close they are. Now imagine 36 cars in that space between Bakken and Benecke. That shows you how competitive it is. There goes Ellis Jr. lunging up the inside of Tommy Oscar for reverse grid pole. He's just about alongside. Can he maybe mirror what he did to the car behind him? He's going to maybe have to give it up here as Oscar is going to run him out wide. Ellis Jr. he keeps the space on that outside though, and he's still just about there, but he has to go shown him by Tommy Oscar. And Benecke has now found an opening on the inside of the last corner. Here comes Benecke up the inside for the last corner now. And could this be now a crucial move for Max Benecke to try and get past into that reverse grid pole? Ellis Jr. is going to hang around the outside, but he has to give position to Benecke. And that move just didn't quite work out. Tommy Oscar did a very nice job to defend that one, but Ellis Jr. not having any of it, lunges at Benecke up the inside of the village section and runs him out wide. This is a fierce battle between Kevin Ellis Jr. and Max Benecke, and it's just losing the time, unfortunately. Now they're dropping off the back of Tommy Oscar is going to secure him, and the flash lights for Kevin Ellis Jr. He's not happy with Benecke possibly in that turn one, but oh, that was fierce. Kevin Ellis Jr. ran him all the way out, but Benecke pulled it off.
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of give and take there. I think there was a lot of firm moves, and then, well, handed back quite rightly. So that is how hard the racing is here, and of course Max Benecke, known as one of the fiercest racers in the whole championship. There, every single place is very hard earned with the German ace. So that puts Kevin Ellis back to 10th position in this race, and will be 10th position starting on the grid. So without anything crazy happening forward, he will start from the 5th row. So another advancement, Jack. And as we've seen, throughout the season so far, we've seen a number of big names getting involved in incidents early on in the feature race. So there is certainly plenty of opportunity for Kevin going into the feature.
Yeah, it's only 2 places up from where he started in this race, in the sprint race. So all is not lost. It's P10 again today. It's good points. So here we go to the line. It's the white flag lap, of course. Final lap in the sprint race. Top 8 will be reversed to head into club corner. So Tommy Oscar will be on that P8 reverse grid pole. Mitchell Dion has taken the win in the sprint race ahead of Josh Rogers, Lawrence, Sebastian Job and Charlie Collins, and then Graham Carroll, Matt Backham and Tommy Oscar with Kevin Ellis Jr. in P10. Jeff Gazzi did very well to recover to 25th after getting involved in that lap. Instant. Johan Hart's getting just behind him 26th, and Zach Campbell is limping that car across the line for 32nd, and Jamie Fluke as well coming across in 35th place. So not the best one for the guys, but one car in the top 10. Kevin Ellis Jr. He finished 10th, he'll start 10th, which is not a bad job at all. Had to fight fiercely for it with Max Benecke. And we're now going to have a 10-minute warm-up, of course, so the guys can get their eyes back in. But now we've got a 14-lap feature race to come after that, with the top 8 inverted, with Tommy Oscar on the front row.
Indeed. So there is confirmation of your results with Kevin Ellis Jr. getting that vital top 10, bagging a good chunk of points and heading into the feature race with some big names up ahead. We're going to take a very short break here on Apex Racing TV. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide supports to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Real Falla.
And Real Falla is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Pekin Freeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Welcome back to Apex Racing TV and the Porsche Tag Heuer eSports Supercup. Myself, Peter Mackay, and Jack Canan taking you in a behind-the-scenes stream of the exploits of the Rahal Letterman Lanigan eSports team and the Apex Racing team as well. We've just finished the 7-lap sprint race here at Silverstone, and we will be going into a 14-lap feature race shortly. Jack, it was a strong showing there from Kevin Ellis Jr. again, really making the most of his qualifying performance. Qualified 12th, moved up to 10th, had to have a go for that 8th position to get that reverse grid pole, but didn't come off and dropped from 9th to 10th. But overall, a good start for Kevin.
Yeah, it was. He's in a decent spot now for the feature. Of course, going to be starting P10s, though still on for some very decent points. The top 20 score points in this one, so it's a decent lot of points. Zach Campbell was so unlucky with the contact between himself and the car behind. There's just such fine margins in this one, and just the quarter panel to rear end, and nothing that he could have done about that one, but still limped across the line to really starting in 32nd place for this one for Zach, of course. But let's see if he's able to get himself maybe inside the top 20. Be a great effort if he were able to do that. And of course, it wasn't at all a good one for Apex Racing team getting caught up in the first lap incident with that huge pile-up. Unfortunately, with Johan in it, Jeff got into it, as did Jamie, and they all managed to still get across the line though, which is always the important thing. But currently, I think the hopes rest on the shoulders of Kevin Ellis Jr. at the moment for a top 10. But listen, if we have a stack up like that, there's nothing to say that the guys at the back can just get their way through, because it's very likely, because of the nature of the first sector, that tight and twisty section, especially turn 3 and 4, where it's the slowest corner on the circuit, where guys lunge up the inside trying for moves, then basically anything can happen. We could even see that again. It's even more likely we'll see it again in the feature.
Yeah, very good point indeed, Jack. And yeah, exactly. For every car that drops back and hits problems, that's an opportunity for the drivers behind. So yeah, we'll see what Jamie Fluke, Jeff Chiazzi, and Johan Harf can do, and Zach Campbell for that matter. Zach will start from 32nd on the grid. Jamie Fluke will start 35th. So at least they will have some allies there. Johan Harf will roll off from 26th position with Jeff Chiazzi 25th. So again, handy to have some friendly cars around in this what is an absolutely brutal racing that we see here in the Porsche Tag Heuer eSports Supercup. Of course, during the week we saw Porsche and Tag Heuer joining in a strategic or a brand strategy partnership or something like that. Jack, I have to say I have no idea what that means. I presume it's some sort of sponsorship endorsement of some description.
Yeah, I have no idea, to be totally honest either. So, not good with technical terms or any kind of sponsorship or anything like that. But I would assume, yes, it's some kind of sponsorship role. So I would assume that we will be keeping the Tag Heuer name in the eSports Supercup for a couple of years to come, I would imagine. So it'd be nice to see that. It's great to have them on board as well. So nice to have that big backing for a championship of this size as well. So we'll wait to see. Now just a couple more minutes left in the warm-up. About 3 minutes remaining, which will then lead us into 14-lap feature race. So we'll just see Kevin Ellis Jr. now with Johan Harf. I'm sure Johan's now just going to try and follow Kevin, because now he can practice just running the draft a little bit, just keeping their eye in. You tend to see teammates working with each other in the warm-ups. Red Bull tend to go with Red Bull, Kwan tend to go with Kwan and RLL, and ALT they tend to work with each other. Although Kevin Ellis Jr. was working with a rival team right there, he was working with Jan Kankuven in the previous lap. Now he's replaced him with Johan Harf.
Yeah, a bit more familiar territory for Kevin there. It's just an extra point on Porsche and Tag Heuer. I mean, they're two brands that have been really quite close together for a very long time. Of course, one of the most famous Tag Heuer timepieces is the Tag Heuer Monaco, which was famously worn by Steve McQueen, who he liked racing Porsches as well. In fact, he very nearly won Sebring outright. He won his class. And nearly won Sebring outright in a 908 Spider. It was actually called the Flunder Spider. I'm not quite sure where it got the Flunder name from, but yeah, he already at the age of 40 at that point was Steve McQueen, and yeah, he liked his Porsches and he liked his Tag Heuer watch. He probably liked Johnny Walker Scotch as well as we went underneath the Johnny Walker bridge there.
Yeah, definitely, and. Of course, hopefully we can get a good day as well. It's been a good day at least for Scotland today, because actually beat England in rugby as well. It's been a very good day, and now Kevin is in the top 10 for the feature race, which is a good day as well. So we'll see if he's able to gain on that. But Johan, he had a great week last week, of course. Great recovery now. Down he will be starting further down the order, of course, because of the incident he was involved in. See how far he can get up. We have, of course, the webcams of Johan on the left and Jeff on the right. Still can't tell if he's wearing the shorts, Peter, or the boots, so we might have to ask him afterwards.
Well, you know we will. Bless him, Jeff. He's a great sport. He, for those who missed the stream last week from Imola, I urge you to go back and watch it. It's Jeff showed that he has a pair of lucky Hawaiian shorts, which he wears in the sim, and also a pair of bright yellow racing boots as well. And my favourite part of the story, though, Jack, was his old car, his classic car seat that he sits in. Now, most racers, most professional sim racers have, you know, a Sparco bucket seat or a Corbo or an OMP or whatever you want. Whatever fancy brand you can think of. No, Jeff's got the proper lowrider classic leather seat. I like that. That looks like a seat that's seen a lot of use, but a lot of love as well.
Yeah, it certainly is. It actually made me wonder why more people don't do it. But he's obviously looking to upgrade, but I wouldn't if I were him. I'd keep it. I think it's really cool that he's got that. Yeah, exactly. So warm-up is now just ticking to an end. I'm just going to take over now. So warm-up is now finished, and we will grid up for the feature race. The feature is always a great watch, so don't go anywhere. we'll see if we can get Kevin Ellis, if we can get Zach and the boys on ART up a little bit further and get a decent result. Don't think we're going to quite match the car in the top 10 than last week, but we can hope.
With stranger things have happened. Well, so starting on pole position is Tommy Oscard alongside Mac Backham in the Lego Technic car. Row 2 is Graham Carroll and Charlie Collins. Row 3, Sebastian Job and Dane Warren. Row 4, Joshua Rogers and Mitchell de Jong. Max Beneke starts 9th alongside Kevin Ellis Jr., our man in the Rahal Letterman Lanigan eSport number 30 car. Ian Guven and Jeremy Boudaloop start on row 6, followed by Patrick Holzman, Thomas Tatala, Sindri Septus, Ricardo Castro, Alexander Walters, Moreno Sirica, Mati Kizoya, Diego Pinto, Jack Sedgwick, Mikel Gade, Daniel Lafuente, and Salva Talens. And our boys, Jeff Giazzi and Johan Hart, start 25th and 26th. Jamie Fluke starting from 35th. Zach Campbell, nearly missed him, 32nd there as well for Rahal Letterman Lanigan eSport. We know how much pace, particularly young Zach had, and how comfortable he was cutting through the field. Let's see if he can do it in this feature race. 14 laps at the home of British Motorsport, Silverstone. Off we go down towards turn 1. You can see Kevin Ellis Jr. there in the 30 car, tucks in behind Max Beneke, who qualified a place ahead of him, so holding station so far, but he's goes straight to the inside. Very, very, very clever there. Just keep the car safe, just get through this opening section. We see a lot of drivers falling by the wayside here, and goodness me, big spin there in front of Jeff Giazzi, and oh dear me, poor Jeff. What does he have to do, Jack?
Oh, I really don't know. It's the second one he's going to have to pull that car and tow it back, I think, but it looks for too much damage as Kevin now, he lost the position to Ian Guven, but he gains it now into P9. He goes safely through. By the way, Johan Hart has made it through safely. He's into 18th place right now. Oh, that is such a shame for Jeff. Once again, caught up in that first lap incident. Again, nothing to do. I think Jamie Fluke just about managed to escape, but I think he may have a little front end damage. But Kevin Ellis Jr. now into P9, and let's see if he can chase after the guys in front. He had to fight hard for that position and to fight off Ian Guven. Train a little bit of a gap to the next car in the front, so they're going to have to work together. I think just pulls themselves back up to the back of the train.
Yeah, that's well. It's one thing on a positive side. Johan Hart has made a fantastic start in the number 90 car. He is up at the moment into the top 20. Sorry, Kevin Ellis Jr. up to 9th. So Johan Hart running in 18th. That's a fantastic start from 26th on the grid for Johan. Brilliant job, and there's plenty of opportunity for him to move up the pack. Now it looks like we've lost Max Beneke. Maybe he's had a crash because he's nowhere to be seen on our timing tower as Johan, brilliant move there on the final corner, slips by to take another spot. So it's been an inspired start to this race from our flying Frenchman, the iRacing World Rallycross champion, don't forget, for Advanced Subaru. But Kevin Ellis Jr. up to 9th, but yeah, Beneke has disappeared. Not sure what's happened there, Jack.
Let's see what happens. Graham Carroll will have a problem now as well. He dropped down to 6th place as well. So there's plenty happening throughout the field in this one. He's got a little back there in the Red Bull cars. He's lost a couple of positions. But now, Kevin Ellis he's closed up to the back of Dane Warren for P8. And now he's in the fight, which is exactly what we want to see. So he's in the big train with Dane Warren, Mitchell de Jong, the next car in front, and then Graham Carroll. So nice seeing back in the train. So he's in with a good shout of some good points here as well. Chasing after now, let's see if we can see what's going on as well. Jamie Fluke, of course, on the right picture. So you can see Colin White on the left-hand side. He's just trying to keep himself clean here as they head into turn 1. And you can see all the big spread out in front. You can just see it includes that Zach, just a couple of cars in front. And then we head through, he gets launched up the inside, keeps out of it, but there, bang, round he went. There's poor old Zach's in it as well. And great driving from Jamie. Look at that, wow. It's to avoid Postman. And great driving from Northern Irish there. But once again, Zach and Jeff caught up in turn number 1. but now we see Jamie Fluke managed to get through it unscathed and keep himself out of it. But again, same corner, Peter. Exactly, it's almost exact repeat of what we saw in the sprint.
Good me, yeah, it's been a crazy start. I think that might have been even crazier as well. I mean, Jeff just getting smashed. Nothing he could have done, absolutely nothing. You couldn't go left, couldn't go right. He was at 9:11, covering the whole of his immediate path. Fastest lap of the race on the first wire for Sebastian Schwab is the 28 car there of Carlos Fendalosa in front of Jamie Fluke, having a huge moment. And when these 911s break away, they can, if you're not on top of them, they will bite you. Of course, a rear engine, the same recipe that's been such a part of the 911 story since it was released to the public in 1964. But still, the engine right in the back, 4 litre as well, so quite a bit bigger than it was when it came out. Just a 2 litre engine when it came out. So it's the engine's doubled in size, but it stayed in the same place. But it's still an amazing race car. And this is one of its ultimate iterations, this 911 GT3 Cup car. In fact, more expensive to buy one of these second-hand than it is new, so it's always good to get an allocation of one of these cars.
Yeah, it really, really is. You can just see there, Kevin just made up a position on Dane Warren, and now he's chasing after Mitchell de Jong is next in his sight, as well as Charles Collins and Graham Carroll, who's at the lead of this train of cars. So Kevin now into P8 on track, and he's now in a big sandwich. There goes Johan into 16th place. Now he's making up place. That's 2 more positions he's gained on track right now. He chases after his car in front. So excellent job from him and Jamie Fluke now, just behind Fennerosa, just keeping an eye on him as well. So Jamie Fluke into 31st position, and let's see if he can maybe make a move on Fennerosa. Here's the head down into Stowe. He's going to have the outside line, not an easy line to take here as they come down into Stowe corner. 28 on the left, Jamie Fluke on the right hand side for Apex Racing Team. He's going to probably back out of that one and try and get up on the lead. Fennerosa covers that Apex very, very nicely. Jimmy's in top. I think this one, once again, he's go for the inside of the next corner. He thinks about it. He does have a little look up the inside there. Pulls alongside Fennerosa, but does a nice job, and then tries to get a switchback line textbook. But again, Fennerosa just covering up just enough. And gets to sit behind. A little while on 14 in this one, and now. This is actually really good to watch with Kevin Ellis Jr. on the right side, because believe it or not, Kevin is in the middle of a massive sandwich of Coanda cars.
Yeah, well, you've been calling the action there brilliantly, Jack. I've been watching Kevin in the monumental punch-up. It's like it's like watching a Jackie Chan movie where he's got five bad guys around him trying to eliminate him, shall we say? And he's doing a great job. Really fighting hard. I mean, Kevin Ellis got some brilliant racecraft. He's shown that. Sebastian Job looking very wayward in front, just a couple of positions ahead, going quite wide in a lot of places, and that's sort of backing the pack up slightly. I mean, it's virtually backing the whole field into itself. Kevin Ellis up to 8th position, so he's moved up 2 spots from his original qualifying position. And I tell you what, Jack, 2 top 10s, a pair of top 10s would be really, really good to come out of here with.
Yeah, no, I was wondering what was happening there. Actually, Tommy Oscar dropped from the lead down to P9 to Josh Rogers in the new leader, and he's actually fighting with Mark Backham, so this might drag Sebastian Job and the rest of them into this one. So Ellis Jr. up another position, he's into 7th place. Let's have a look and see what we can see what happened between, looks like Sebastian Job and Tommy Oscar as they came down into Club. Was there a little door bang between the both of them here? Oscar went back up the inside, big fight between the both of them. And as you can see, Oscar was still in front, but Job was not having any of it. And off into the gravel, bounced off the barrier. Tommy Oscar did an amazing job to keep it in a straight line. Pit round's very similar to what happened between Zach and one of the guys behind. Just unlucky with the rear quarter panel right there. But Tommy Oscar dropping from the lead down into P9, and that was Sebastian Job briefly in the lead, and now takes over Josh Rogers.
Funnily enough, I was thinking exactly the same. I was like, this is a carbon copy, a different corner, but exactly the same incident sort of type as with Zach Campbell. Bit of a racing incident. I'm sure the Porsche stewards will have a look, but yeah, interesting one there. And it actually really played in Kevin's favour, because it's backed the field up quite a bit. now up to 7 spots. So this has been an excellent start to this race from Kevin Ellis Jr. and still only 5 laps down, 9 to go. So there's still plenty of work to be done, but it's yet another consistent performance from the man from Glasgow in Scotland. Brilliant stuff. As we come in underneath Brooklands towards Luffield, and you know, we joke, but Kevin is outnumbered here. You know, you've got 2 Red Bull cars, you've got a multitude of Kwanda SimSport cars who all live in the same house, for goodness sake. So Kevin doing a great job here, running alone, running solo, really doing a great job in this big hefty battle.
He's actually, I'm just counting, he's been in between 6, no less than 6 the cars at the moment of Collins, De Jong, Warren, Oscar, and Kuba. He's in the middle now. Jamie Footen with another supervision. He managed to get past Fedalosa, and he's now on the back of Alejandro Sanchez. A man again, Alejandro Sanchez, fighting for the win, and now he's ended up downfield as well. Front end damage, so he's got caught up in that first lap incident as well. But now Kevin Ellis Jr. on the back of Noel Stan Mitchell De Jong is his next victim. He's going to try and get past here, and he's also got to watch out for that car right behind him, which is under big pressure now, and put on with the result now. Defends that inside slightly. You just see Ayaka Kuba making a move on Bootleg behind and gets in front for the next pass on the racetrack. So it is great so far. He's really mixing up in the middle of the Kawanda cars right now, and former championship leader in front of him now as well. Of course, Kevin Gould led the championship after back when Mitchell De Jong was leading it for a little while. Now it's Josh Rogers who leads the championship, and he's also ahead of the lead at the moment as well. So trying to go a little bit on a different line, and they're trying to cut back. He's trying to get past Graham Carroll, and Kevin's like, well, he'll battle as hard as he wants. I will come through and pick up those pieces.
Quite interesting. I don't think the Kwanda team manager will be very happy with Aiken Guven and Jeremy Bootloop, because all they're doing is actually slowing themselves up and losing the front group right now. It might be that the group comes back to them, but you can't really give away a millisecond here in the... Oh, be careful. Deary me, Johan nearly getting tapped there. He's back to 23rd, so had a few issues here as the Frenchman. Got up about as high as 16th, 17th place, so drop back a little bit. But you just see the train of cars, one tiny mistake, and you just drop positions for fun. Goodness. So as we're approaching half race distance as well, Kevin Ellis Jr. in the front group. Well, actually, they're starting to separate again, aren't they, Jack? There's a leading trio there, and then a second quintet there, which Kevin's in the middle of. You can see him there, the red and black Rahal Linneman Lanigan eSport car, but he's got a really good reference marker in front with Charlie Collins and Mitchell De Jong directly in front of him, a brilliant drafting partners, if you like, and although they're not running in the same colours, he can use them to his advantage.
I reckon Graham Carroll is kind of backing them up to keep them away from Sebastian Job in front. So you can see here now, look at this, De Jong coming at Charlie Collins. That'll open the door for Kevin here if he can get this done. Now the VRS teammates going at it here, and they need to be careful because they'll lose them time, and Kevin will doesn't need a second invitation to come through, but now you can see behind as well. Now they're going to battle it out between a couple of cars. He's going to maybe lose out the car behind, not quite. Again, a similar cutback line to what Beneke used, but not quite able to get through. But you can see now Ellis Jr. defending the inside line on Dane Warren. He's trying to keep the Australian behind him as Sebastian Job gets past Matt back in for second place, just a little place further up the road, and he can now chase after Josh Rogers. Now remember in Imola, remember the battle between Josh Rogers and Sebastian Job out for the lead. I would love to see a repeat of that, but I would also like to see Kevin get involved in it.
Well, let's see. Dane Warren looking very racy here in the 57 car. My goodness. Well, Kevin did a great job to keep him behind going into Copt into the first, into the old opening corner there. Well, this is really tense here. We're only a half race distance, don't forget, but Kevin's just got to be very careful not to lose. He's got to keep touch with Collins and De Jong. That's the really critical part. He's got to stay in this lead group and kind of get swept along with it. He's got the pace to be there, to make no mistake, but he's just got to keep that momentum up. He cannot afford to be thrown back into the group behind. It's such a unique kind of circumstance, isn't it, Jack, when all the drivers are on almost identical pace. You just cannot afford to be thrown back in. It's all about momentum here.
Yeah, it's not just losing one place, it's losing about 5. So you've got to be in that consistency. So you can see here, there's the lap times versus Kevin Ellis Jr. Josh Rogers opening out about half a second a lap. And of course, he's got free air, so there's that involved as well. You can see Mitchell de Jong is all over the back of Charlie Collins, and he really wants to get past, but he's not been able to do so. And again, we see a similar thing from Charlie Collins. He's going to have to now defend from his teammate de Jong, who nips up the inside of the last corner. They're going to slow each other up here, and Kevin Ellis Jr. now, he's got to think about this. Does he force it 3 wide? He's going to have to back off. No, he's going to go to the inside on Mitchell de Jong for turn 1. Has to back out of it. Smart driving there. That was never going to end well if they went 3 wide into turn 1 there. Got to watch out for Dane Warren right behind him as well, as he has a little think about a move, but de Jong defends that lovely, but Dane Warren bangs doors with him around the outside. He's going to lose that spot maybe to Dane Warren now. Has to leave the door open from Musa, has to leave him space, and he's going to get shoved out a little bit now by the Kwanda driver, and Dane Warren just nips in front, and that was all from taking a different line turn 1, and Dane Warren said thank you very much, Kevin.
Yeah, Dane was really on a charge there, but Kevin, you're looking to take him back. I tell you what, the move that Kevin made there, you've really got to have good spotting information. Of course, all of the Rahal Lenneman Lanigan eSports drivers and the Apex Racing Team drivers will have a spotter in their ear, giving them help on where their drivers are around them. Sometimes vision can be a little bit tricky here in the sim, so a good spotter is vital. And Kevin would have known that he was clear to do that, to dive across. He probably wouldn't have done that without a spotter, that's for sure.
No, you had to be very either brave or stupid to do that with a spotter in your ear, going through that. But Kevin now he's still keeping with Dane Warren here as they continue to back from. There's still plenty of time left in this race as we head through. We're going to be starting at 9 and 14 next time by. And Kevin, really, you can barely see him behind the rear wing of Dane Warren as they head towards Stowe Corner. Is he going to think about a move here? Or is he going to back off? He's going to go for it up the inside. There's a little bit of space there for him to use. Is he quite alongside? He's just a quarter panel alongside. He's pulled this move off before, but not quite able to get alongside Dane Warren as they come into Club Corner. He's thinking about it now. Goes to the outside, late on the brakes, but good defence put up by the Australian on the inside line. Parks it on the apex down so you can't get a cutback line. Perfect racecraft from Dane Warren. Good fair race going on here as Johan Hart is really desperate to trying to get past Saricha. He gets past Lafuente in the Williams car, who I think has just spun in the background. Johan's recovering here now on the back of Saricha, and see if we can get past the Italian here. But he dropped down to 23rd, made it back up to 19th place now, and that is crucially in the point. So he's on for a point-paying position.
Yep, that is critical. You've got to keep booking those points, of course. You need to try and maintain at least the top 20 in the championship when the season finishes, because that guarantees you your spot on the grid and therefore your World Championship license. If you do not, then you've got to go through the peril and the unpredictability of pre-qualifying. And no matter how impressive, how much pace you have pre-qualifying, so brutal. If you think this racing is hard, you should see the pre-qualifying. My goodness, it is just the Wild West. As you see, Jamie Fluke up into that top 20 in this race as well. So good drive through the pack from his grid spot there for Jamie Fluke. Of course, started 35th. So doing a fantastic job right now is the man from Armagh in Northern Ireland. Kevin Ellis Jr. back to 8th now behind Dane Warren, and Dane Warren just losing touch with his two Kwanda teammates, Charlie Collins and Mitchell de Jong, which must be frustrating for Kevin now. Maybe slightly held up, ever so slightly behind Dane Warren, but we're talking such minute margins, Jack.
We're just seeing Jamie Fluke there in that first sector, made a couple of brilliant overtakes to get into 20th place. We also have a new leader, by the way. Sebastian Job is now leading this race, managed to overtake Josh Rogers now. Jamie Fluke under pressure from the 211. Right behind, he's going to switch to that inside line. He moves to the outside And Jamie now is going to have to try and send one around the outside of Stowe Corner. He keeps his foot in it all the way around the outside. Space is left, and Jamie is going to hopefully hang on to that place on the inside. But this is a fierce battle for the last points. Pay position runs out wide, forces them onto the curb. Brilliant racecraft from the Northern Irishman, and that's going to force a 3-wide moment in the background between the MSI guys. And Jamie Fluke is now firmly into 20th. That small little battle in that last corner has given him some breathing space, which is exactly what he needs.
Yeah, he'll be.
The teammates! Oh dear. Oh no. MSI have come together in the first corner. That is not going to be a nice debrief afterwards between those two. As now you can see, yeah, Dane Warren, he's definitely lost touch with De Jong and Collins up front, and now Jeremy Bootloop is back for revenge on the guys in the front as well. So looking to try and get back into P7 here, Kevin Ellis. We know he tends to drive smart in this one, so he's gonna hold back and see and pick his move best of his ability here as they come over the old start-finish line. Graham Carroll's also dragged himself into the lead back, so it's a four-way fight for the lead here. You can just kind of see it just in front. There's 4 cars in front, and there's a gap between Collins and Young. And now Johan Hart, surely no, that's a big slide around Kopp's corner, keeps it in. And wow, how on earth did he hang on to that one there? He's going to lose the spot to Suricha, but oh, spectacular. It's not Rallycross, Johan, we're still in Porsche Cups.
But he can't help it. He can't help but getting a bit of a slide on, can Johan. Fantastic stuff. It does always help to have that in your locker if you do get into a slide, to know how to catch it properly. So, down the hanger straight they go, right on the back of the Williams eSports car ahead, number 69 machine up the inside. Goodness me, this is getting very, very busy here for Johan Hart. The 33 car of Ricardo Castro Moreno in there as well, the VRS car, number 69 Moreno Surica in the Williams car as well, and it's really getting quite fierce there as well. Now, Kevin Ellis Jr. has got a bit of problems here. He's got the 77 of Jeremy Bootloop all over his... Oh no!
Oh no!
Johan's had a spin. Oh dear, dear, dear. Oh, and this... Be careful. This... That is just he's backed out of it. So maybe incurred damage there. Suspension damage for Johan. Oh, well, if he didn't have bad luck, he'd have no luck at all, Jack.
Yeah, there you go. It's not been a good day for Jeff and for Johan. Jamie Fluke is now into 19th place after that. So we have 2 cars left in the points in Kevin and Jamie. Zach, of course, was in the first lap incident twice, and now Jeff, of course, was caught up in it as well. And now we've lost Johan in the space of that as well. So Kevin is now the highest placed car of both teams, and is under some pressure now. He's in the spot now where he's basically absolutely swarmed by Coanda cars, which is not ideal because they will be working with each other, and he is the only man on his team that is in there as well. So he's got absolutely no help from anybody, which is a similar theme to what's happening with Matt Backham in third. He's got nobody around him to help him, and he's getting swarmed by Red Bull and by DRS Coanda, which is a similar kind of thing that's happening with Kevin, but he's certainly given him a good fight.
Well, the one thing that Matt Backham has in his favour is that nobody ever wants to step on Lego. I mean, that is, of course, there's no pain like that. So with him being in the Lego car, maybe that's his got a force field that's it's gonna protect him here. Now, something you don't see very often, Kevin Ellis Jr. flashing the lights, and I presume kind of frustration here, probably just angry that he can see the others just pulling away slightly there from Dane Warren, and there's not really much that Kevin can do about it. He's trying everything he can to get past the Australian, but just not quite able to do it. And Dane not quite got the pace to draw the gap up to his teammates Mitchell de Jong and Charlie Collins. Now, that could also be a little form of communication saying, I'm not going to pass you, let's work together to try and catch up to the pack. As you can see, of course, Charlie Collins and de Jong have been working together remember they were battling for a little while, and then it kind of stopped, and now Charlie Collins is actually very nearly
on the back of Graham Carroll. You can just see it in front of your screens as they head through Brooklands. This could get really, really interesting the last 2 laps. If all these guys manage to close them together, this is going to be an absolutely frantic end. Sebastian Job at the head of the field, ahead of Josh Rogers, and yeah, Johan Hart unfortunately now officially out of the race. As here's Jamie Fluke. He's now actually trying to gain the positions because Johan was actually just fighting with Saricha, and now Jamie Fluke trying to get himself a little bit further up the order as well, if he possibly can, and gain some more points for the team as they head into Cops Corner. But no way through for him just yet. But Jamie, I think he deserves a good one after the incredible driving skills he showed in the first sector with having to do a slalom around cars going everywhere.
Indeed, yeah. It's those avoidance techniques have been quite important. We've had 7 cars drop out of this race, so yeah, it's been mighty tough. Bearing in mind that you know, the rest of the field are within 30 seconds of the leader, so that gives you an idea of just how tight it is, and if you drop out, how damaging it is. But Jamie Fluke moving up to 18th position there. Don't forget, he started 35th, so definitely the Hart Charger Award for our tenacious Northern Irishman here in the 49 machine. He's in a right old ding-dong here with Moreno Sarica in the Williams eSports car. Mali car, my apologies.
Mali car indeed, so biggest mover for definite for Jamie, and personal best lap on the previous lap to boot as well. 2 laps left to go then, as in this feature race of the Porsche Tag Heuer eSports Supercup, and it's now, at the moment, Sebastian Job at the head of the field, Josh Rogers second, Matt Backham, Graham Carroll, Charlie Collins, De Jong, Dane Warren, and we look, of course, at our man Kevin Ellis Jr., who's right in the middle of this scrap. And it is now, I think, becoming apparent that Dane Warren is just not able to catch up to Mitchell and to Charlie up in front of him. So I think, unless something massive happens at the front, which it could very well do in this last lap, we've seen how hard Josh Rogers and Sebastian Job battle each other. There could certainly be positions for granted. That was a wide moment for Dane Warren in the middle of Coffs Corner. Kevin's going to get a great run in towards Maggots and Beckett's here, but I don't think he's going to be able to make anything work through here. He's going to have to get that run out of Chapel, which is the run that he absolutely needs. Let's see if he can get on that power nice and early to try and dispose of the Australian as they head now down the straight. He's in a good run here. You can see the field in front weaving around, trying to break the toe in each other now. Here comes Kevin Ellis Jr. Warren's going defensive. Is he moving out of the way, or is he going to defend? He's going to defend that inside and going to try and cover off the cutback as well on Kevin Ellis Jr. And that is really good racecraft from the man. But look at Kevin now right on his tail as they come towards the last corner. He's going to try and outbrake him on the outside line, but Dane is just going to open that steering and show him the door, and then there's contact between the both of them. Dane gets sent around. Kevin manages to keep going for now, but there is damage on the front of that car. They came to blows eventually. Hard battling, but Kevin is into P7 on the last lap. He's going to have some big fighting now to keep these guys behind him.
Yeah, really unfortunate contact there when you're racing that close. It was always going to happen. I need to have another look at it again, Jack. It almost looked a little bit like Warren spun in front of him, but I won't say for sure. I need to have another quick look at that. But anyway, Kevin Ellis Jr. now into 7th position with that damage. He's going to really be struggling on the straights. He looks to be appearing to have no problems in the corners right now, but we'll get a good look here as he moves across on the straight to try and break the aerodynamic slipstream, which is so strong in these cars this season, more so than in last season, strangely. Now perhaps changing the software design. Yes, Dane actually spun on his own and then just clipped into the side of Kevin's car. That's quite a strange spin there for Dane. Just lost it on the brakes.
Hell of a save though from Dane Warren. He kept it in a straight line somehow. I think he just got helped. I think he got helped a little bit with Kevin there. He just helped him get a point back in the straight line. But now Kevin, he's got Ayahan Guven on his tail right now in the number 911. Let's have a look at it again. You can see right there. He just gets turned and gets helped around by his teammate. Actually, in fact, he's got a double hit, one from behind and one from front. Kept it in a straight line, so he hasn't actually lost that much position. But yeah, you are right. It was a spin for him. And now, final opportunity. Can Kevin? He's going to have to really defend this one now. We see him weaving, trying to break the toe on Johann Guven as they head down the straight into Stowe. Guven, of course, a real-life racer in the Supercup as well, so he's going to be very experienced with this. And Kevin manages to keep him behind for now as they run down into Club Corner. He's going to have to hold that inside as best he can. Guven switches to the inside, goes late on the brakes. Kevin's going to try and hang around that outside and see if he can hold on to position. Guven's around the outside. Kevin's going to show him the curve on the outside. Super close between them. It's going to be a run for the line between the both of them, and Kevin's going to hang on for P7. Just about, he crashes over the line, but it is P7 for Kevin Ellis Jr. And that is how it ends. And Jamie Fluke, what a drive, my man. 17th up from 35th on the grid. And Kevin's, I mean, it was a big crash over the line, but it is just P7 for Kevin Ellis Jr. What a finish. And the win, by the way, went to, as far as I can see, Josh Rogers in the end. So Josh Rogers taking the win in this race. But wow, Kevin, he held on for dear life there.
I think it might have been Sebastian Job, actually. Strangely, my feed is showing Sebastian Job. So no problem. No, goodness me, there was so much to watch there, wasn't there? It was all going on. And Kevin Ellis Jr., what a Lionheart performance. Now, there's some interesting comments from a couple of our folks in pit lane that, of course, Dane Warren racing in Australia and Kevin, of course, racing in Glasgow, which is in every possible measure very different from Australia and very far away from it. And I wonder if there's maybe a little bit of digital aero wake again that caused a bit of damage or a little bit of an incident there. But Kevin doing a great job to hang on to that 7th spot. It will be 2 top 10 finishes for the Scotsman. But I have to say, my driver of the day, Jamie Fluke. You don't get 1 place in this championship without being world class. But to make up 20 places, Jack, Jamie Fluke, you got to take off. You got to doff your cap for our tenacious Northern Irishman.
Yeah, that's a brilliant performance. But of course, there were downsides today. Johan Hart, unfortunately, out of the race. Zach out of the race early on as well, and Jeff as well caught up in the first lap incident and unfortunately not classified this week. So another really up and down week for this one, not quite to the same heights that we had in the previous round in Imola. But now, of course, after this one, we actually have a little break, which is always nice that you get a little bit of a break to try and refresh and come back once again. And it'll be a hell of a race when we go to Road Atlanta. These cars are going to be brilliant around Road Atlanta with this one. So it is obviously not the best day for the drivers, but hopefully we can get a better one like Imola in due course. And I think we're actually going to see that finish between Kevin and the rest of the field behind in just a moment's time. It gets queued up, but Kevin, I mean, he absolutely fought to the death with Johann Guven all the way through there, which is what you always want to see. That's how you gain these positions. You've got to absolutely fight your corner and fight to the very, very end.
Yeah, that's probably as aggressive as you'll ever see Kevin Ellis Jr. But as you rightly say, Jack, there was no other option. And in a field as close as this, and with the draft as strong as it is, there was absolutely there was no other choice for Kevin. You can see there he's having a look at the replay himself there as well. So let's have a look then and just see if we can get a bit of an idea. So Guven tries to hook it around the outside, takes the outside. Kevin's taking his line, and yeah, a wee bit of argy-bargy there. But if you want to hang it around the outside of the final corner at Silverstone, that's what will happen, I'm afraid. So it's I'm sure that the stewards will have a look, Kevin will have a look, I'm sure Johann Guven will have a look, and so you can see there was a few other similar incidents behind Kevin. So yeah, certainly a busy day, but ups and downs once again. But that's the nature of this championship here in the Tag Heuer Porsche eSports Supercup. I have to say, you've got to feel for Zach Campbell in the number 15 Rahal Letterman Lanigan car, Jack, because he had really strong pace. He'd made such a good start in race 1, and then taken out, no fault of his own, and then same again in race 2. So no points for Zach. But in 2 weeks' time, we're not only going to his home country, we're going to his home state. Of course, he's from the state of Georgia, where Road Atlanta exists.
Yeah, so I'm sure he's gonna really want a good result there, and he absolutely does deserve one in this one. So hopefully we can get a better round for Zach, and Road Atlanta is going to be really, really good in these cars, especially with that long back straight, which is going to be fantastic heading into that. I'm picturing it now. That fight for the lead, down the back straight into that last chicane. I mean, it forces racing nearly Road Atlanta, which is what we love about it.
Yes, it does. I mean, the last, of course, the long back straight, Jack. It's the drafting opportunities there. You're absolutely right, and breaking downhill with the ABS. My goodness, it's gonna, or not lack of ABS, I should say. It's gonna be crazy. And I've got some. But Jack, do I have some trivia for you in 2 weeks' time at Road Atlanta?
Yeah, I really look forward to weekly trivia with Peter. Yeah, looking forward to that. We've got some interviews standing by, but we'll have those in just a moment. We're going to head over for a quick ad break. Don't go anywhere.
Like I was almost.
Welcome back to Apex Racing TV and back to the Apex Racing team and RLL Feature. And of course, we've got the driver standing by. And with me right now is Jamie Fluke, of course, the star of race number 2. Jamie, that was a tough day at the office for the sprint race, at least. But the biggest mover, 20 places gained in that second race. Just talk us through that. That was pretty chaotic.
Yeah, that's a good word to describe it. Well, it's hard to not go forward from 35th, I will admit. There's plenty of room to go, up the standings there. But yeah, first few corners were mental, and then every sort of like mini battle that I came up against on my way through also was mental. Like no one was interested in trying to catch the pack ahead and latch on to pick up points or anything like that. And guys were spearing off left and right. So I only made like a handful of actual overtakes, maybe 3, maybe 4. It was just everyone else got themselves into difficulty, and I tried to just plot my way through to the best of my ability.
Yeah, obviously we have proper race of attrition right there. But yeah, just talk us through that first lap again, because it'll be on the onboard on the stream. But where did you learn to slalom through some crashed cars so quickly, so good?
I would love to say I spent winter training in the French Alps skiing, but no, that was just instinct more than anything. To be fair, spending 3 years racing touring cars with some of the British guys, and that was a good training tool. So if anyone wants to know how to dodge or get plenty of practice in dodging things, then RLTC is a fine series to take part in and to learn your racecraft in that regard.
Absolutely. Now, next round, we have a 2-week break now. Of course, we're heading to Road Atlanta. So, what's the racing going to be like there? Is it going to be kind of similar to Silverstone with the draft, or is it going to be a little bit trickier to overtake? Because it also is kind of narrow in places.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be quite as chaotic as it has been here. However, we do have a very long back straight, which, depending on how we go with downforce levels, may end up having guys 3 and 4 wide coming into the final chicane. So it could be pretty leery. But the rest of the track is quite narrow, so it is hard to go side by side. Tough to say, really, because this season has threw up many surprises for me in terms of how the racing has been. Like I was expecting carnage, and oh boy, did we get it today. So maybe I'm underselling it a little bit, but it'll be a good watch no matter what way it goes.
Absolutely. Well, Jamie, thanks for hopping in with us. And just before we let you go, is there anyone that you'd like to say a quick thank you to, or give a quick shout out to while we're on stream?
Yeah, sure. So massive thanks to everyone on the team who's put a lot of effort and energy into making us competitive this season. And like we're maybe not quite as on the pace as we were previous weeks, but we still worked really, really hard on it. I'd like to thank SDK Gaming, Apex Racing TV, you guys, Apex Racing Leagues, and the Apex Racing Academy as well. And also just a quick shout out as well to the MSI guys who we have a technical alliance with. Those guys also do a really good job.
Good stuff. Well, Jamie, thanks a million for hopping in with us. Biggest mover and slalom expert. Hopefully we'll be talking to you in 2 weeks' time at Road Atlanta. Thanks a million for hopping in.
Cheers. Thanks.
Well, so not quite as good a skier, but he certainly learned his way in ARLTC, which is the league that you're involved with, Peter.
Yes, indeed. And I see his beard is coming on very strong as well there. It's making him go quicker, that's for sure. I have to say I'm so pleased for Jamie because he had a really, really tough pre-season with quite a bad arm injury, which really prevented him from practicing as much as we know you need to do to compete at this level. But you look at where Jamie's come from the start of the season in round 1 to now, it's my goodness me, it's been great, and great to see him with a smile on his face after a great drive today. Another man who has had a very busy day, and I'm sure be quite glad to put his feet up after that one, is Kevin Ellis Jr. Kevin, that looked, well, it was exhausting to watch. Goodness knows how you feel after that. Tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that's the toughest race of the season so far. Yeah, really, really busy night from start to finish. Obviously, with how Coanda played qualifying again, they had all the cars up there. They've done a great job to do that again. So yeah, it left us kind of up against it. And yeah, I mean, I had to try and get the elbows out there and try and get to P8 in the sprint race, but Max did his thing, and that ended how that ended. So without saying much more, I think that's probably the nice way I can put it. So yeah, started 10th and just tried to pick off what we could, and was sitting in 7th there in the feature, and then I just got a bit jammed up behind Mitchell trying not to run through the back of Charlie ahead of him, I think, into turn 3, and it just allowed Dane to get back around my outside, so I was kind of stuck behind him there, and then he ran deep in the last corner as far as I'm concerned and hit me. So there's nothing I could have done. I gave him more than enough space, and he didn't even make the apex and hit me. So yeah, I made to come away with, I think it was a 7th in the end. 10th and a 7th, decent points, solid day. But yeah, I'm exhausted after that one for sure.
Yeah, I think considering, I mean, it was a bit of a bar punch-up, wasn't it? It was. Of course, all the cars are so close in pace that it did look tough work out there. Tell us a little bit about the last sequence there with side by side with Guven. I mean, it's easy for us to comment as onlookers, but how did you see those last couple of corners from your seat, and what your opinion of it all was?
Well, I mean, I knew he was going to send it, but he sent it down the inside, and to be fair, he got it stopped. I was trying to leave him enough space after what Dane done the very lap before, so I was just trying to keep it off of him. And then as far as I'm concerned, it's the run to the line. I don't know why there's a slowdown out there. So, I mean, I think if I was race control personally, I would just give Guven the position that he would have had rather than having him demoted down to wherever he ended up. I don't know why there's a slowdown on the outside of the start-finish line. It's a ridiculous place to put one. And when you're coming to the line like that, that's always going to happen. I'm sure if it was the other way around, Guven probably would have done the same thing. I mean, the guy on the inside is likely going to come away on top through that, but I didn't want to take any chances, so I kept the foot in it, made a bit of contact, and hooked left into him a little bit, not intentionally, just the way the car contact model is, and then it unfortunately pushed him into a slowdown. I mean, yeah, it's as I said, it's the fight to the line. There's going to be a little bit of contact, and the fact that there's a slowdown out there is just ridiculous. So I think race control should probably just give him P8 or P7, whatever they want to do with it, and should be left at that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's very honest indeed. It's we see it all the time in both 2- and 4-wheel motorsport here at Silverstone. It's always a run to that line. I mean, looking ahead, we've got another break, a week break next week, and then we go to Road Atlanta a fortnight from now. Now, that little bit of a break really helped going into Imola. What's the plan for the next fortnight heading towards Road Atlanta?
I mean, we've got plenty of work still to do. We've got Carrera Cup GB next Sunday at Le Mans. That's a double points race, so a lot of time's going to have to go into that. So, yeah, I mean, I'll probably be able to make a start on Road Atlanta at some point this week, but obviously I'll need to drop it to go and do Carrera Cup GB and then come back. So, yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to a little bit of a break, just kind of take it easy the next couple of days. Just kind of keep ticking away, but not as intense as the last couple of days have been. And just try and mentally reset a bit heading into Road Atlanta. It's a track that we expect Zach to run well at, so I'm hoping he can kind of carry me and teach me the ropes of the track a bit. It's a place I've always just sort of ran okay at. I've never really been anything special around there, so I'll be leaning on Zach quite heavily over the next 2 weeks to try and pick up the pace. But I think overall, we've got a couple of things we need to learn from qualifying today. We need to see what Command have done and see if we can learn anything to try and get the tyres into the window better, or if it's a setup thing. It's just something we need to look at ultimately. So yeah, I mean, just looking forward to having an easy few days ahead and relaxing a bit, and then get back into it.
Well, it's well deserved. 2 brilliant top 10 finishes today, Kevin, and I'm sure Zach will be able to show you the way around his local circuit. Hopefully, you'll get a return the favourite Knock Hill one day as well.
If that's ever a pest track, that's going to be one hell of a race.
It's going to be great fun. Yeah, absolutely. Kevin, go and enjoy a well-deserved Venom, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Much appreciated, guys. See ya.
So there was our man, Kevin Ellis Jr., joining us in the commentary box here on Apex Racing TV. Jack, final thoughts. It was a busy race. It was a hard race. But I think Kevin will be very, very happy to get 2 top 10s and a solid stream of points under his belt after that one.
Considering how hard fought that was, I think it's a great result to come out with. It's a real shame for Zach and for Jeff, who didn't really get to show what they could do in the feature race, especially Zach and especially Jeff. Jamie did an excellent recovery with 20 places gained in a competition that's so fierce. So he did from my perspective, did an excellent job there as well. But hopefully a better weekend next time for Zach and for Jeff especially, and for Johan too, who was running really, really well for a long time, and he unfortunately got caught up in an incident as well. So hope that he gets back to form in this 2-week break. So we look forward to that. But I'm really, really looking forward to Road Atlanta. It's going to be a pretty hectic one, with that first windy sector and then that long back straight, which is going to give us some hells of a fight.
It's going to be a lot of fun. One of my favourite tracks in the world, and I'm sure the drivers are going to enjoy the next couple of weeks of driving hundreds of laps around Road Atlanta. Thanks so much for your support and for tuning into this behind-the-scenes stream of the Rahal Letterman Lanigan eSport team and the Apex Racing team in their exploits in the Porsche Tag Heuer eSports Supercup, amongst the best sim racers in the world. You can go on to rahal.com or apexracingteam.com for more information about our drivers. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Thanks for watching.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion RLL Feature.
And RLL Feature is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Pekin Freeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.